welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be making a necklace with beads from my stash. The original design for this necklace is from Eureka crystal beads. Now the color palette I'm using today is quite different from what they did the original design, and I'll show you what I did make with the collection. This came out a few months ago. It was called Blush Meadow, and that was the color palette from Eureka crystal beads. And so the design that they did was using Toho beads, and here's a sneak peek of what I made using the collection. I wanted to make another version, but instead of using Toho beads, I use Miyuki. Miyuki is most of what I carry in my stash. So these are the color palette materials you're going to need for today's project. And just so that you could get an idea on what it looks like put together, I kind of got a head start on it, and this is what I'm making today. So I'm going to show you how to make this necklace, and it's basically two components you're making. This is the start, and then this is the second one, and you're going to do that throughout the whole necklace, and it's just two components that you're going to be repeating those steps. Very easy to do. So I'll have links in the description box below that will apply to all the products used in today's tutorial. If you click more below the video, you'll get all the details, including a link to my website. And you'll see this necklace for sale along with the other one I made using the actual original blush collection. Alright, so let's get started. First of all, I'm going to review the materials. I'm using 3mm pearls, and then I've got 8mm Miyuki seed beads, and these are 8mm pearls in a light blue. This is kind of a dark blue. You're also going to need some Demi rounds, and those are kind of like an O bead shape. They're kind of flat, and this is a size 8. This is a Toho Demi round. If you have any O beads, that would probably work as well, but here's what they look like up close. Looks like a little donut. They're kind of flat. You're also going to need some Ginko beads. Now the Ginko beads is a 2-hole bead, and it's got a curved shape to it, and you want to make sure when you're using multi-hole beads that you check to make sure none of your holes are blocked. I'm using a size 10 beading needle and 6-pound fireline in crystal. You're going to need a pair of scissors and a pair of flat nose pliers. You're also, for findings, going to need a couple of jump rings. I've got 6mm jump rings, a lobster clasp. I'm also using an extender chain to give it some versatility for lengthening it if you need it a little longer. And then I'm adding a little accent with a 3mm pearl at the end of a ball head pin. And I'll show you how to do a wire wrap on that later. All right, so let's get started. First of all, you're going to be picking up 4 of your 3mm pearls. So let's pick those up. And I did get a new webcam for any of my viewers out there who were having trouble seeing my prior videos. This is the new webcam, and I'll have a link to that in the description as well if you're curious what brand and make it is. So here are our 4 3mm pearls. We're going to put that till we get to the end. I'm going to leave about a 6 to 8 inch tail. You don't need a very long one, just long enough to weave in. Alright, so there's my 4 pearls, and I'm going to bring my needle back through the first bead. Pull that together. And I'm going to go through all the beads. And I want to reinforce this so that I'm going back through all the beads again until I meet up with the tail thread. Alright, so here is my tail thread, my working thread. I'm going to do a surgeon's knot. So you're going to take your tail thread, cross it over your working thread, bring that tail thread through the loop twice. pull that together, and you want that knot to sit in between your beads. So now I'm going to advance my needle through one bead just to get away from the knot. And we'll just leave that tail thread to hang out. We'll weave that in later. So from here, I'm exiting this 3mm bead. I'm going to be adding an 11/0 in between each 3mm. So pick up one of your 11/0s in galvanized silver. Go in through the next bead. Pick up another 11/0. Go through your next 3mm. You're going to do that 2 more times. So on this last 11/0 I'm adding, I'm going to go through the 3mm and the next 11/0. That's what you should have so far. All right, so let me get some of these beads out of the way so they're not confusing my camera. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to make our end connector where our jump ring and lobster clasp are going to go. So you're going to start by picking up 4 of your 11/0s in galvanized silver. I'm exiting here, and I'm going to go through the opposite side of where my thread is exiting. Now I'm going to advance through one 11/0. That's next in line. Pick up another 11/0. Exiting here, going into the next 11/0. You're going to repeat that 2 more times. Pick up an 11/0, going into the next 11/0. Pick up an 11/0, and we're going to go through the next 2 11/0s to complete that round. Now that is going to give you the end of the necklace, and this is where we will connect our jump ring and our lobster clasp. So for now, this will be, I'm going to turn this around, this is going to be the left side, and we're working towards the right. It doesn't matter which way you go, whether you're left-handed or right-handed. But from here, I'm going to advance down through the 3mm and the next 11/0. So this is going to be the bottom of my necklace. So I'm going to add a little drop right here. So I'm going to start by picking up 4 of my 11/0s in silver. I'm exiting this 11/0. I'm going to go through the opposite side. Now we're going to go through one 11/0, pick up an 11/0, go through your next 11/0, now we're going to add a drop at the bottom, so you're going to pick up an 8/0 in black, go through the next 11/0. Just make sure that sits in the middle. Pick up another 11/0, and you're going to go through the next 2 11/0s. Now we're going to advance through the 3mm and the next 11/0 right there. that completes your first unit or your first component. So now we are going to add our pearl and Ginkgo for the next segment. So from here, we're going to pick up 1 11/0, our pearl, and 2 11/0s. So you're picking up 1 11/0, your 8mm pearl, and 2 11/0s. So you want to bring that close to the work, hold onto your pearl, and we're going to skip these 2 11/0s we added at the end, and we're going to go straight through the pearl. Just the pearl. So pinch and hold the pearl as you're pulling your thread, and you want those 2 11/0s to sit next to each other, like that. And try to get the slack out of your thread. So now we're going to pick up another 11/0, and I'm going to go through the 11/0 closest to the pearl. Pinch and hold the pearl as you're pulling your thread. And if it gets caught, just fix it and resituate your thread. So we're exiting here. So now we're going to wrap around our pearl with some 11/0s. Now the difference between using Miyukis and Tohos, in the Eureka crystal beads design, they were using Tohos, so the count to wrap around the pearl was a total of 7 Toho 11/0s. Miyukis are slightly smaller, so we're going to be increasing that to 9 of our 11/0 Miyukis. So pick up 9 11/0s. And I'm exiting here, going into the next 11/0 on the other side. And that will wrap those around the first half. Now we're going to advance through the next 11/0, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Pick up 9 of your 11/0s, and I'm going to go through the next 11/0 in line right there. Now I'm going to advance through the next 11/0, kind of hard to get in there, but that's where you want your needle to go, in the very next one in line. Now we're going to shortcut across through the pearl, so you're going to bring your needle right through the pearl. And now we're exiting the midpoint of where we added our beads. So you can see where the thread is split here. There's one going up, one coming down. I'm going to go in the 11/0 where the thread looks like it's coming up. So I'm going to come down through this 11/0 at the end, which is the midpoint. Now I'm going to pick up another 11/0 and come down the very next bead in line, the next 11/0. So that should give you a little point there, and that's where we're going to continue going forward after we finish this component. So from here, we're exiting this 11/0. We're going to come through the next 5 11/0s. And that's the midpoint of the 9 that we added. So from here, we're going to pick up 4 of our 8/0s in black. We're exiting this 11/0. You're going to bring your needle through the opposite side of where your thread is exiting. Now from here, you're going to advance through the next 2 8/0, so you're going to have to kind of flip it around. You want your needle going that direction. Pull your thread. And now we're going to add an 11/0. So pick up an 11/0, go through your next 8/0. Pick up another 11/0, go through your next 8/0. Now we're going to skip that 11/0 and go in through the next 8/0. So I'm going to turn this around so I can get my needle in there. So you're skipping the 11/0, going in through the next 8/0. Now we're going to pick up one more 11/0, and now we're going to advance through the next 8/0 and 11/0. That's going to take me to the bottom of this component. So now we're going to add our Ginko bead here. So we're going to pick up 3 of our 11/0s, your Ginko bead, and make sure you check the holes. So I'm going in through the left hole like this. Now I'm going to pick up an 11/0, 2 Demi rounds, and an 11/0. Bring that down to your work. So we've got 3 11/0s, the Ginko, 11/0, 2 Demi rounds, and an 11/0. I'm going to bring my needle back through the empty hole of the Ginko going in this direction. Now I'm going to pick up 3 more 11/0s, and I'm exiting the Ginko bead. I'm going to skip this 11/0 at the top, at the base here, and we're going to go through the next 3 11/0s before the Ginko, right there. Pinch as you're pulling, and that should wrap around the top of your Ginko bead like that. So from here we're going to pick up 4 of our 11/0s. We're exiting this 11/0. We're going to go through the next 11/0 and Demi round. And that's going to wrap around the Ginko. Now we're going to pick up a 3mm pearl, go through the next Demi round and 11/0. And that should sit right in between the 2 Demi rounds. Now you're going to pick up 4 more of your 11/0s, 4 11/0s. Now we're going to go through the next 3 11/0s plus the one at the base. So that's where your needle should be going through. That completes wrapping around our Ginko bead. Now at this point we're going to advance our needle. We have to zigzag to get back on this side. So we're exiting this 11/0 here. We're going to go through the 8/0 and the 11/0 that's next in line. Now we're going to go through the 8/0 and the 11/0 at the base of the pearl. Now we're going to go through the next 5 11/0s. Now we're going to go through the next 11/0 right here. And then before we go through the pearl, we're going to go through the 11/0 that's in between the little pearls to secure that. So we're going through this 11/0 that's in between the 3mm. Now we're going to go through the next 11/0 in line by the pearl, which is this one right here. Now we're going to shortcut through the pearl, right there. And now we're going to advance through the 2 beads at the end. So you're going through the 11-0 at the end of the 9 that we added, and then the 11-0 you're going to go through the point right here. That's our connector. Those are the 2 components that you will be going through, repeating to complete the full length of the necklace. Now the necklace that I'm working on, I'm going to show you how to finish it. This is the beginning, so you're going to repeat these 2 components, and I'll have timestamps included to do the first component and the second component. And you're just going to repeat that. And you're going to end with a component like this, the small one, and you're going to add a little finishing touch here. So I'll show you how to do the finishing touch. The length overall of the necklace I'm doing is going to be anywhere from 18.5 to 19 inches. I'm adding an extender chain, so that'll give me a little versatility. So each of the 2 components measures just slightly under 1 inch. So you'll want to measure as you go along to make sure you're getting the length that your target is. And so go ahead and continue. I'll have the timestamps as I mentioned. You can just jump to the part of the video to repeat, and once you get it down you can easily memorize this pattern. It's so easy. All right, so have fun with that, and I'll show you how to do the finishing touches next. Okay, real quick before we go on to the finishing touch, I'm going to show you what to do with this tail thread. Very simple. You're just going to weave it in. Right now it's coming out of this 3mm bead here. I'm just going to come around and reinforce this piece. So I'm coming through the 11-0, the 3mm bead, through the next connector 11-0 here. And just continue all the way around, going through the 3mm and the 11-0 next in line, because we've already done the surgeon's knot, so it's pretty secure. So I'm just going to come through, and now I'm going to reinforce my little connector here by going through the beads, going through the 11-0. I'm going to go through this next 11-0, skipping the point and going through the 11-0 after. You can do it in 2 steps. So we'll go through that one first. I'm skipping the point and going through the next 11-0. Skipping that point and going through the next 11-0. Skipping that point and I'm going through the next 11-0. Now I'm just going to come up through this 11-0 and the pearl, through a couple more beads, and I'm going to cut this tail thread off right here. So that's all you have to do to weave in that tail thread. And from here we're going to add our jump ring and our lobster clasp. Let me show you how to do that. Very simple. Just take your 6mm jump ring and we're going to open that up by twisting that towards you. And you're just going to pass this through the opening and put your lobster clasp on. And now we're going to close that by bringing the 2 together. So there is one completed end of your necklace, and you're going to continue with your components. And then we'll do the wire wrap on the embellishment, and I'll show you how to finish that off. All right, so we'll see you shortly. All right, we're coming to the end of our necklace here, and this is where I've ended with a pearl, and my thread is coming out of this 11-0. We're going to do one more component. So we're picking up 4 of our 3mm beads or pearls. I'm going to bring my thread or my needle through the opposite side of where my thread is exiting. Now I'm going to advance through the next pearl, and I'm going to add 11-0s in between. Since I already have one there, I just need to add this 3 times. So we're picking up an 11-0, going through the next 3mm, picking up an 11-0, going through the next 3mm, and doing that one more time. And I'm exiting the 3mm. I'm going to skip the 11-0 and go through the next 2 beads, which is the 3mm and the 11-0. So I'm exiting the bottom side because I'm going to add my little embellishment here. So I'm going to pick up 4 of my 11-0s, go through the opposite side of where my thread is exiting, bring your needle through the next 11-0, pick up an 11-0, go through the next 11-0, pick up an 8-0, go through the next 11-0, pick up an 11-0, go through the next 2 11-0s. Now bring your needle through the 3mm and the 11-0, and we're going to add our little square at the end to finish our necklace. So we're going to pick up 4 11-0s, bring your needle through the opposite side where your thread is exiting, advance through the next 11-0, pick up an 11-0, go through the next 11-0, do that 2 more times. Pick up an 11-0, go through the next 11-0, pick up your last 11-0, going through the next 2 11-0s. So you want to reinforce, do a half hitch knot. So we're going to go through this again. Going through the next 11-0. I'm going to skip the point, go through the next 11-0, skip the point, go through the next 11-0, skip that point, and go through the next 2 11-0s. I'm going to do a half hitch knot right here. Bring your thread under a thread bridge, bring your needle through the loop, pull, advance through the next 2 beads, do another half hitch knot, bring your thread under a thread bridge, go through the loop, pull, advance your needle through the next 2 beads, and clip your thread off. Now we're going to add, we've already got our lobster clasp on this end, so we're going to add another jump ring with our extender chain. So you're going to need a couple of pairs of pliers here. So go ahead and open that 6mm jump ring up, by twisting that towards you. Slide that through your opening. And one end of your extender chain. Then you're going to close that. Now we're going to embellish by wire wrapping a ball head pin with one of our 3mm. So to do that, I'm going to take some round nose pliers and my skinny pliers. So I'm going to place a skinny flat nose on top like this, and I'm going to turn this 90 degrees. So you want it to be with a little right angle. And now we're going to take our round nose, place that on top like that. Now you're going to pull the wire towards you and over your round nose and then down towards the table. Now I'm going to rotate my pliers and pull this straight back, and before I wrap it, I'm going to fasten this on to the end of my extender chain. Just kind of pull that on. Now I'm going to take my skinny pliers and hold one end. Actually, I'm going to use my crimpers because it's got a very narrow tip, and I want to be able to hold this loop so I can wrap. So I'm going to hold that with one hand, and I'm going to wrap with the other hand using my other pliers. So I'm just going to pull this around. Just need to wrap it a couple of times. You want to leave enough room that you can clip this and tuck it in the sharp edge. So I'm going to get my wire cutters, clip that little end off. And now I'm going to just take my other skinny pliers and hold that loop while I am pushing in the sharp edge that's sticking out. So I like to use my crimping tool for that. So I'm going to turn this around so I can see where it is. And I'm just going to push this down. Make sure there's no sharp edges, like so. And that is how you embellish the end of your necklace. And that just gives it a nice finishing touch, and you have an adjustable length here. So let me get this all arranged. See if I can get this to fit in my camera, and I'll be right back. All right, so there's our beautiful necklace. And I'm calling this the Blue Meadows because it's with blue tones. Blush Meadows was actually the original design with Eureka Crystal Beads' collection called Blush Meadows. So this concludes today's tutorial. Isn't this beautiful? And you can use, do the same design with beads in your stash if you don't have the blush collection. Got a lot of versatility. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video today, and thank you for joining me. There will be links in the description box below with all the products used in today's tutorial. I also have a website where I sell my own jewelry, and you'll see that link as well. Alright, so keep an eye out for periodic sales because I do have those throughout the year. If you're not a subscriber, I hope that you do subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're notified when I upload new videos. And I want to thank all of you who are subscribers and keep coming back to watch and commenting. I really appreciate your return visits and any feedback that you have to offer. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Happy beading, and I'll see you next time.